Hello, everybody. This is Jim from Augusto Digital, and today we're talking about AI-powered application development tools. We're going to go through a series where we're going to test multiple tools and understand how these tools can be used and how powerful they can be. We'll do a live demo and we'll create a weather application that uses a third-party API. We'll look into the insights of the strengths and the weaknesses of each tool, and we'll work on some practical takeaways for developers, startups, and businesses. With this video, you'll have a chance to see how these tools work, and we'll give you insights so you can take advantage of them if necessary. When we look at each of these tools, we want to take a look at why we're doing it. And application development using AI can help accelerate your development team, code generation. It helps also to reduce the time to market, quick iterations, testing of new ideas. Another thing we've noticed is that it can enhance efficiencies, things like optimization, performance, and even streamlining workflows. And lastly, what we're seeing a lot of at Augusto is rapid prototyping, allowing you to take a business idea very quickly to the market. So as we do this test and we do these evaluations, we're going to walk through each tool. We'll do a comparison on these 5 things: ease of use around the tool, speed and performance, how quickly can we build something, and what's the performance of that application as it comes out, what are the features involved with each system, the overall quality, how well it created an application, the tech stack involved with that, and the cost. So with that said, let's start with our first product. It is bolt.new, and here's the site. It's bolt.new. Before we start, we should probably look at the app we're going to build. For each one of these systems, we're going to build a weather application. And the goal of this application is to build a responsive weather application. We're going to name it the Augusto AI Demo Weather App. It'll work both on mobile and desktops. The prompt that we're going to use to build it, and again, these tools are using prompts. They're using words. We're telling it what we want, and it's going to generate the code for us. So here's our prompt. We'll be creating a responsive app called the Augusto AI Demo Weather App. It will work on a desktop and mobile. The features: it will display a form with 2 fields. It'll have an input field of your name, and it'll have a field to put in your zip code. Above that, we'd like the words "enter your name and zip code to get the current weather." And then we're going to ask the application to try and use the browser's geolocation, which is built into your browser or your operating system, as well as, if we're on mobile, to use the location that's on your mobile app device. If it's unavailable to get those 2 things, in my case, I turn that off on my browser, it's going to fall back to using the zip code. In the app, we're going to use the Open Weather API to retrieve the data, and I've given it some guidelines around that. I want it to look up the latitude and longitude, and then after that to get the data and the information. Once we enter in your name and a zip code, the weather we want to display, it's going to show a welcome message saying, "Hey, welcome the name," and then display the current weather. And I'm leaving this pretty vague. I want the system to come back with what it can find from the API and give us all the options. And then lastly, I'd like the background to be dynamic. So if they put in a zip code where it's raining or it's sunny, I'd like to see the corresponding weather in the background image of the page. I'll give it some notes. I'd like the application to be responsive again and mobile friendly. I'd like it to be a clean and a modern UI. And I'd like the system to choose the best technologies. I'm not going into this saying I want a specific framework. In most systems you can, but I'd like to see what comes out as we do these demos. And I've given it some additional requirements. If possible, I'd like it to be deployable to Cloudflare. I'll add that at the very end. It's not necessary, but it's just a nice feature that we can use a third-party hosting solution. So we'll move on to Bolt. Bolt.new is a pretty popular AI development tool. I currently have an account. You can see here I'm signed in as the personal plan. Most of the systems will be very similar. What do you want to build today? And we'll put our prompt right in here. So I'm going to paste that prompt in there, but you also can see I could have uploaded an image. I could have worked with their enhanced prompt. It would ask me more questions. Down here, you can see I can import from Figma, and there's a lot of different technologies that are involved as well. So let's go ahead and just work with this basic premise of we want to build a mobile app. Notice I didn't add much technology knowledge to this. I'm really going at it as like a business user would. So as Bolt builds out the system, you're going to see it has 2 options here. One is for code. So it's actually generating the code as we go along. And then 2, it's going to give us a preview as we move through it. On the left-hand side, let's go back and see what it did. It told me the goal I put in, and then further down, it's going to start the process of creating a modern weather application. It's going to be using the technology of Expo and React Native, which is great because both of those can be used both on the web and when I want to build this into a mobile application. So these tools are going to work in a sense where behind the scenes, they're going through the request I made, the prompt I made, and it's going to find the correct way to build the application. So let's watch as it goes. It'll come back and give me some feedback. Let's quickly take a look at some of this feedback. It said I've created a modern responsive application. It will work with the web and mobile. It's using Expo and React Native. It's going to have a form. It's going to regurgitate what I asked it for. It's going to use geolocation. It's going to show the weather. And then it's going to have a dynamic background. It'll be responsive. They also took the time to add error handling. It's going to validate the input forms. I'm assuming that means the zip code will be numbers and the name will be characters. It's going to handle any errors that come up, and it's going to show any states like loading or what it's doing. Now, down here, give me some instructions. Replace the OpenWeather API key in this file, this index.txx, with your API key, which I'll go do here in a second. The app will automatically request your location, and if not, it'll go back. They also made it so I could deploy it, which is great. It has a build script. And you can see over here that if I wanted to use this on my mobile app with Expo, I just need to scan this QR code. So really quick, I'm just going to take a screenshot of this and save it so we can come back to that later. So I'm going to click on preview, and there's this option that's got, let's see, I should be able to get out of this. There we go. I'm going to close this. And here's the preview of the app really quick, like a browser would be. And you'll notice in Bolt, I can also take a look at it. What does it look like on a mobile device? So it is responsive really quick. You can see that this is what it looks like on an iPhone 16. Maybe there's a Pixel 9, and that's what it looks like on a regular device. So before we start, I need to go and take a look at the code. The one technical thing here is I need to replace this with my API key. So I need to go find the folder called app. In addition to that, I need to find the file now called index.tx. Here we go. And it's asking me to replace right here, replace it with my API key, which I'll do here in a second. I'm back. I've placed the API key in there. I've hit the save button, added the save button, and I'm going to go ahead and tell it that I've just the instructions that I have added the API key. It's going to go ahead and do what's called an npm run dev. It's going to recompile it. So I now have that. So let's see what we get. This is the first run. So far, we've given it our initial prompt. I put an API key in. I'll put in my name, and let's put in my zip code here. All right, it says invalid zip code. So there's a couple things that can happen. Let's determine what that means. Since I don't have any error handling, let's tell the system what I'm getting back. When I enter the screen with a zip code, I get the error, invalid zip code. So let's see if Bolt can troubleshoot what's going on. Let's see, let me help you fix the code. Error handling, let's update the index with the file to properly handle the API response and see what happens. All right, now that it's recompiled, let's do a gem. Let's do my zip code. Let's see what we get this time. All right, you can see really quick that it came back, said, Jim, here's your weather. It's 33 degrees. It's got scattered clouds, and it feels like 27 degrees Fahrenheit. Now, I know that the API brings back more information, so let's ask Bolt, please add more weather information on the weather page. Can you add the feels like and any other things like wind speed? Let's just see if we can get this information back. Now, remember, I started very vague, asking it to provide some information about the weather. It did that. It took the zip code to give me the nice background to match it. But now I'm asking it for more information. Let's see what it finds. Now, if I were to go look at the API, I'm sure I could give it specific information, but I'm just asking more along the tone of a conversation to see what the system can do. When it does come back and gets done building, let's try a couple things. We'll try a different zip code. We'll try error handling. We'll put an invalid zip code in there, maybe more than 5 characters, as well as see what it does with the results. We're still waiting for it. I do like the fact that it came back by saying it's going to add more weather information, like details like wind speed, pressure, and other relevant information. So let's go try this again. We're going to do Jim, and I'm going to pick another zip code I know, 90210. Let's see the results. Welcome, Jim. Here's our weather, and it says the city that we're located in. It's 70 degrees. It feels like 69. The wind is 7 miles per hour. It's got a visibility. It's got some pressure information, humidity, and it looks like it also brought back the sunrise and the sunset with the high and the low. That's pretty good for not having given it much more information. I like it. And then let's do an invalid zip code. Let's just put 2 9s. And you can say, so it does have air handling on it. It knew that that wasn't a valid zip code. I think that this is a valid zip code. Nope, that is not one. So let's use my own again. And lastly, we've got ourselves an app. And again, it works well on mobile, right? So it looks pretty responsive for me. So really quickly, with a limited prompt, we've built ourselves the weather application, as well as Bolt has given me the opportunity to make this mobile. So let's talk about some of the things around cost, performance, and what we've learned. So let's talk about performance. I've been using this app for roughly 8 minutes, and we have a fully working application that we could deploy. So in terms of speed, performance, that's pretty good. We did have one issue about the API key. I had to tell it that we needed to work out to make that work. But overall, that was pretty straightforward, and Bolt helped me do that system. Let's go quickly to some of the features of Bolt. One is you can connect it to a database called Supabase. Supabase is a Postgres database that's online, very powerful. It has many features similar to Firebase. Really great to talk to it in a context of a prompt. As well as Bolt will let me deploy this. So let's just deploy it to the web really quick. This will go out to a tool that they have called Netlify. And when it's done, it will give me a website URL. I can share that to anybody, and my application is now live. Now, remember, we're using a third-party API with the weather data. It could be any third-party API, but I can deploy this and start using it right away. I will click on that here once it's built. So it built, and it told me 2 things. One is I can use Expo to open this on a mobile device like iOS or Expo Go or Android. And additionally, it says your site has been deployed over here to this URL. I'm going to bring up the URL, and you can see I'm going to try and allow the location. It doesn't work. Let me go put my name in here, Jim. And there we go. Oops. It works. It's got its own URL. It's live on the web. We have deployed an application. Here's my app. So on a mobile device, when I deploy this mobile app, here's what it will look like. So Jim, we'll do 90210. There we go. Let's get the weather. And you can see, hey, Jim, here's your weather in San Diego. It's currently sunny, and we've got a little bit of wind and the sunrise, sunset. So Bolt has got an opportunity here to not only build a responsive web app that we deploy to the web, but also a mobile app. I will follow up. If you have questions, please leave so in the chat. If you have questions for me, feel free to email me. But thank you for this. We'll be following up with the next AI tool.